evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock on January 15th, 2026, and I call this meeting to order. It is a public hearing. I hereby call this public hearing to order today, January 15th, 2026, at 6 p.m. County Attorney Will Mercer and Finance Director Kay Wilcox will be providing you with information regarding the revision of Article 1, Section 6 of the Union County Code of Ordinance related to the salary of the commission. Turn it over to Mr. Murray.
Afternoon again, everyone. For those who were here for the first one, we are revising the Article 1, Section 6, salary of the commissioner in the Union County Ordinance. What we are doing is we are making a few changes, but this changed in 2013 by resolution. That's what was going a part of that since then. And then we've been going off of that. There were some few changes that wanted to be made. So instead of just doing another resolution, we're putting it in the ordinance where when people ask about it, we don't have to give them the resolution. So what we're changing here is we're taking out the old part in Section 8 and just putting in the language of the resolution from 2012 or 2013. The commissioner did want to take out the automatic 5% increase for every consecutive term. That is just going to go back to state law. State law is a 2.5% increase. Everything else will be the same, except we're taking out paid in monthly installments to bi-weekly installments. And in Section B, there was a $200 expense allowance. That was set down in 1984. So $200 by Google's calculation from 1984 to today is roughly $625. So the expense for each month is $600, okay? And then the last section of that is really not applicable anymore, and so we're taking that out, all right? So this will be the change that we're proposed making. This is a public hearing, so everyone can make statements, add suggestions, make suggestions of what it should be. But before we get to that part, Ms. Kay Wilcox, our finance director, is going to give a presentation on the breakdown of the calculation of the salaries.
Good evening, everyone. So what we want to discuss this evening are the calculations that I performed for the 2026 salary of the commissioner. This needs an explanation because when I received the guide for 2026 salaries, and I began to compute it, I noticed that there were some problems. I took these to Commissioner Collins, and so we have adjusted his salary for 2026. So this is the guide that we get each year from ACCG, the Association of County Commissioners. It sets out in detail how to calculate salaries for all elected officials. So it goes in steps. So step 1, the sole commissioners may receive the same minimum base salary as the sheriff of the county. The salary can be set by local legislation or set according to the local ordinance procedures. So we have a resolution, and the resolution was effective January 1, 2023. Setting the annual salary of the commissioner to be equal to his said salary as of December 31. 2013. And that base salary was $97,278.22. So then we add, step 2 is to add supplements for county training. The Carl Vinson Institute of the University of Georgia does training for elected officials, and as they complete it, they are allowed a stipend or an additional supplement of $1,200 a year. Since this is Commissioner Collins' first year in office, this is not applicable to him, and so we're still at $97,278.22. Then steps 3 through 8 lay out the cost of living increases that you have to calculate for elected officials. Because this resolution went into effect in 2013, these cost of living increases were not calculated. They were part of the salary. So these were not added in. So then there were no COLA increases, 09, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So the state allowed no increases in salary cost of living for those years. Then in 2015, you can see here that it is a 1% increase. So that is calculated, which brings us to $98,251. For 2016, there was a second increase of 1%. So we took the $98,251, and that brings us to $99,233. 2017, it's a 3% increase. So we calculated that. 2018 was 2%. There was no COLA for 2019. For 2020, it was 2%. So we calculated that, 106, 339.82. Then there were no COLAs for 2021 and 2022. Then for 2023, the COLA was a set amount of $5,000. So that was added to the 106. In 24, it was $2,000. And then in 25, it was the lesser of 4% or $3,000. So this was added. There was no COLA for 2026. So the commissioner's salary for 2026 was set for $116,339.82. In addition to all of those supplements, county commissioners are given a longevity supplement for each term they serve. But again, this does not apply. And that is what I have. Are there any questions?
We'll take that at the end.
Okay, sorry.
Take questions at the end.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kay. The question here is, see, and when I took office, let me start from the beginning. When I decided to run, the reason I did run was you heard the lack of transparency and accountability. So I decided to run. Didn't ask what the salary was. I didn't ask what the salary was, I believe, until the day I took office. He said, that's the truth. I didn't care. You know, I'd heard rumors what our previous commissioner was making, but the money wasn't the problem. It was the transparency and accountability of what I heard when I was campaigning. So I wanted to bring that to the office. So when I took off on the first day, or maybe the day before something, I was told the salary of the commissioner was $134,000 and some odd dollars, is what I was told. I said, that's too much. They said, well, that's what state regulates. That's what it is. I said, it's still too much. So, went along with it, what you want to do. So, our previous finance director is what it said that. She left the middle of February. So we hired her a new finance director. And with all the other stuff that was changing, the budget and all this, she was looking into that. And this is a number she come up with. So that $200 for your vehicle, I did not take it. County vehicle, I drove the county vehicle probably less than 5,000 miles, and most of that was on the trip to school. And I put my gas out of my pocket. That vehicle in the previous, might be 2-year-old, had over 30,000 miles when I got it. And now, there's a $600 thing you can take each month. First of all, I'm going to pay back this $17,000 and something dollars, because it's not mine. But I'm going to take the $600 because that's better than I give to me for maintenance on vehicles. And I may go driving the county vehicle if some of these people don't get off my back for spending money and don't believe that I ain't being honest with them. I'll take what the state gives me if these people don't do that. I'll just be honest with you. I'm trying to save y'all money. I'm trying to set an example for other employees to save the county money. That's why I've elected, to help the county out, not to drain it. And you can ask any of these employees that we are trying to save y'all money. But I ain't gonna pay the money back. It's not mine. And this meeting is adjourned. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Do we go up there to speak, or we speak from our seats? How are we doing this?
Is there a microphone somewhere?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
No, but did y'all want to come to the front and just try to talk like I do? So,
hi, my name is Christy Shirky, and I'm a resident of here. You know, what I heard is that you were running for transparency and that you wanted to reduce expenses and increase revenue. And how is this?
Oh, hold on.
Yeah. Let's see.
Increase revenue, what, in which way do you mean by that?
Well, like you were looking for the View to make more money, you were looking for our entities like recycling to make money. I have, even in my short time here, have some ideas on increased revenue. So that's what you were going to do, not come here, be transparent. Then, no offense, but again, we talked about this during the finance meeting. Giving us this, and then going up and talking about COLAs from 10 years ago, what does that have to do with saying if there is a concern about salary? First of all, I honestly don't know anybody that would run for office or take a job and not know what they're going to make. But if that's your
I may be the
case,
first one. I would not
I guess
stand
so,
up
and
here
that's
and lie.
kind of scary for our
People know
commissioner to take a big responsibility like this, a $33 million budget, Makes a lot
That's
more
because the man cares for the county, and that's why he took the
And I
job.
want to also say, when I
Hold on
was,
just a minute. If you was in the business side in farming,
excuse me?
if you had ever farmed and understood what it takes to make a living, $15,000 would be a big salary.
I worked all my life.
Well,
I know what it's like to work hard. I'm
would be a
just
big salary.
saying, when you come
Wait,
up
one second,
here
Ms. Sherky.
and hand us
Ms.
this
Sherky, Ms.
stuff, it's
Sherky.
ridiculous.
Please make your statements or questions as towards what we went over tonight, the salary and the
You went over
changes in the
stuff
commissioner's
that
salary.
people look at and go, I don't know, what does all this COLA have to do? Does this mean
Cost of
all the
living
officers are going to get increases?
No, that's state mandated by the state
What does that
legislation.
have to do
ACOG.
with right now? What does 10 years ago have to do with what we're discussing now?
It's, Ms. Katie, can you answer this as,
And a really short, specific answer.
So in this ACC guide, they give you steps to follow, to calculate.
Okay, so what are you calculating for him? Not based on 10 years ago? Where's
No,
the
that is
RTA?
his salary because it requires me to go through each of these steps and to add each of those COLA increases to his base salary.
So when you get a new commissioner, you have to go back 10 years and give them COLAs when they weren't even an employee? Is that what you're telling me?
unless the base salary was changed for that year, to include those COLAs in it. So if they redid it to go, okay, the base salary is going to follow each year with what the cost of living is for that year, it'll be recalculated for that year as the base salary, then you wouldn't go back and add it. You only add it to it when you haven't got it.
So you did this calculation, or the finance department did this for the last 20 years with our previous commissioner?
Yes. No, I didn't.
You didn't, she says yes. What's the answer?
The previous finance director. This has been calculated for years.
So
in this
every
way.
year it's been done, so this is nothing new.
No.
So why are we talking about this tonight if this is a standard?
Transparency.
Because
Because he's taking a cut in pay.
Because he's reducing his pay.
Big pay.
Why is he getting a cut in pay if you're calculating like you have every other year? I find that
It
confusing.
wasn't calculated correctly. Didn't
So
you say-
somebody miscalculated the salary for
I
him.
mean,
Who did that?
the former finance director.
Okay, so you're recalculating that, and then you're going to put in this new part where before it was very specific. In the event said officer, which you should be paid for your automobile expenses, uses said officer's personal automobile in carrying out official duties, the expense for the maintenance operation shall be paid from county funds, and such expenses shall be in addition to other expenses. But now you want to put, in addition to the compensation provided, you'll have an increase to 600, but it said reimburse per month to reimburse officer for expenses incurred by carrying out official duties within Union County. Officer shall also be reimbursed for actual and necessary expenses incurred by said officer. Why, what is actual and necessary expenses versus before it was very specific about using your car and travel?
Ms. Sherky, that was actually written by the Georgia legislature
For who?
for all commissioners.
So you're saying this is new and it was passed and you're just adding it?
No, you're reading from not the red portion.
Right, I'm reading the new portion. This is what will be removed.
No, the red portion is the changes, so you understand. So the red portion is the changes. So where we have in red that something's marked out, that was there previously. The new red underlined is what's added in, okay? And then so like this middle section where before under the resolution, Union County gave an additional 5% increase to the salary of the commissioner every 4-year term on top of what was allowed by state law, okay? Mr. Collins wants to take that out, so we're going to
Okay.
we're taking that part out. Then down where it has bi-weekly, but you see beside it in red, it's marked out. It was usually paid monthly in equal monthly installments. All of the the black letters,
Yes.
that's what's that was what was been there, and those black letters were the copy and paste from the official code of Georgia for a single commissioner.
So B is going to include what? Because you have red down here that's all crossed out.
Correct. We're just taking that out. Instead of,
Oh, so red here is taking out, but otherwise it's the black that now stays in.
but no, ma'am. I'm sorry if I'm not explaining this correctly. If I can,
I'm looking at this.
okay, so any part, like it's underlined right here in red, that's a new addition.
How about what's crossed off in red?
That is being taken out.
Oh, okay, so
That's
some
being
red is
taken
being
out.
taken out.
Yeah.
The black lettering has always been there. The
And
black
what's happening
lettering,
with the black lettering?
well, we're not changing it. So it's staying the same. Only changes are in red.
Okay, so there's changes in reds and there's things X'd out in reds.
Correct.
Those
If
are
we're
being
taking it
removed.
out, this
Yeah.
shows what we're taking out.
Okay,
And it shows in red underlined what the changes would be,
okay.
okay?
So let me ask, on the salary pages, are these new salaries? What is this?
That's not produced by us.
That was not done by us.
So what are the new salaries based on, if we want to be
That was-
transparent, what are the new?
Well,
was not our
like
document.
Mr. Collins, like Commissioner Collins said,
Yeah,
his salary as calculated by Georgia law is 116,339.82.
so that's what he's going to be paid.
Before he took office, he was told by people that say what your salary is, was 134. He said he questioned it. They said, nope, this is what it is.
So who was it that told you that?
He explained that.
Finance director.
So,
So he just told you that, but you never got it in writing?
well, that's what he was paid.
Yeah,
That's what he was paid for 2025.
Oh, okay. So,
And so, Commissioner Collins wants to be transparent,
right.
saying, okay, this is what I was paid.
Transparent.
We had everyone go over it. We're presenting it to the public at a hearing. That's recorded on the minutes.
Okay,
To go, here's what he should have made. Here's what he was given. And he's made a commitment to pay it back. To pay back the difference.
okay. So is that what you're going to make this year?
yeah.
116,339 plus your expenses. That's it. That's it. I mean, that seems pretty simple to say versus go through a lot. And I know you say transparency, but the majority of people are not going to sit through that, read this, and understand it. Make it simple.
You've got to tell people how you get to that number. You just
How
can't
many
come-
people
I
do you
just
think
can't come up here and
understand
say, I make 134,000.
Did you understand?
I'm gonna go to 116 without explaining it. You know, people's gonna have to, well, you have to explain it, that's what we've done.
So
Did you understand?
You went into office when?
Did you understand?
When
January 1st.
So January 1st, and now it just came about that you realized what you thought you might make is not what you're going to make.
It took a while for our new finance director to figure all this out, because we had the budget, we had everything else figured out.
But now we know you're going to make 116,000
Yes, ma'am.
plus expenses based on this.
That, you're pointing to a sheet that the county didn't
This
give
one.
out. I know that may be confusing.
This one?
Yes.
Plus expenses.
This will cover the salary and expenses.
Okay. So I want to know.
Y'all come on up.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, like you were giving back the 17,000, so to speak. But the thing is, if that was your income, you had to pay an income tax on that money also. So that goes to one, so, you know where. And so how does that get brought back into your pocket on that, or that part of the 17,000, or is that deducted from the 17,000? I don't know if
Is there a financial?
I even confused myself.
So we can do this through a payroll deduction each pay period. And we can say, that will come off of his W-2. We can set it to come off or not to come off. So the amount he pays back will be credited to what he earns in this year.
But our friendly government gets the income tax on all that, they get that and get to keep that, right?
Right, but he will get credit for that in this year.
Okay.
So he'll get the tax money back because he won't pay the tax this year.
That wouldn't have been fair on your part, I don't think. I
You
mean,
know,
I'm not,
paying taxes on something I have to pay back. That's why that, you know, that's what I say.
yeah, okay, I would just thought of that.
I'm Gary St. Lawrence, I live in Blairsville. I think I get this. My question, I have basically 3 questions. First of all, are you Jennifer?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for setting up the meeting.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Did the previous commissioner get these cost of living allowances? They were all calculated into his 134?
No,
Oh.
no.
They was there for it.
But did he receive the $16,000, $17,000 in COLA increases, including in his 134 and change?
He, well, however they calculated it back then, it should have gone when they set the resolution in '23 with all allowable increases by state law. And all those we went over from 2023 were allowable increases.
2013.
2013, I'm sorry. Thank you. 2013, so, and that's not the only thing. I mean, you also had because he was multiple term,
Right.
he would have a state allowance, or he'd have a 2.5% increase every longevity term.
I thought it was 5.
Well, 2.5 is on the state. The additional 5 came from this.
Okay.
So it was 2.5 from the state, then he got 5 from this, then he had certain trainings that gave him extra money.
Okay.
There's so many things that can go
No, I
into
get it.
that.
I understand all the supplements.
Yeah.
What wasn't clear,
Cost of living is one of those supplements.
that was included in Lamar's 134.
We did not do a breakdown of his and what was put in because
Okay.
we focused on him, on
Okay.
Mr. Collins.
Not
I can't
to
answer.
favor either commissioner, but if those COLAs were not incorporated into Lamar's salary, does he get a back pay check?
I can't answer that question right now.
If it were me and I found out that I was entitled to, 11 years of COLA increases, I'd be asking, where's the check? I think maybe we look into that, find out if that was the case so we can justify, because there, as you pointed out, you thought 134 and change was too much for a commissioner. So the base started out around 93,
97.
97 and change, and then we added the COLAs, and Commissioner Collins doesn't qualify for the longevity, so this 116,339 is the new Union County Commissioner salary
For a single commissioner, yes.
for a single commissioner. So in 25, you made that 134 and change. You're going to pay back the difference through payroll deductions and...
There's multiple ways to do it.
Right, but it makes sense. The payroll deduction is the easiest way to withdraw, and you can also add the credit for the taxes he paid on. So to me, that ends up being a wash. But I'm just very curious if those COLA were included in the 134 previously. Because if they were included in the 134 previously, this kind of becomes irrelevant.
Well, he would have still had all the longevity increases. He would have still had all the training increases. There's other state allowed increases
Okay.
depending on what you have. That depends on how many terms, how many trainings, specific things you have.
I get it.
So that's a more complicated breakdown of what he would have and what he would need, and that's just not something Ms. Wilcox prepared for
Okay, then-
tonight.
Standing here tonight, as a Union County taxpayer, I'd like to see a forensic audit to determine what went into that $134,000. Did it include the COLAs? It's easy to show the longevity increase and the trainings and all of that, but I'd like to see a breakdown of what made up that $134,000.
Okay.
I applaud you for this, This is honest. It's, you know, we start with the base salary, we add what he is entitled to, and don't add what he's not entitled to. We come out with 116, which saves the county 17 grand. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Zeb Blanchard. I'm from Ivy Law. Mr. Mercer and I have done this dance before. Did you use sole commissioner or commissioner? Okay, thank you. I'd like to point out that the ordinance and related laws that we're talking about has never changed. Because the resolutions don't change ordinances. That's what we're doing tonight. And in this hearing, we're deciding if we want to change the ordinance. So the history on Lamar's salary is that in his first 2 years, he did comply. His first year, he took $4,790 over whoever was the next highest. And in his third year, perhaps he started incorporating COLAs and whatever, but the ordinance was active in 2003. So there was, Mr. Mercer and I had an episode a couple of years ago dealing with this, and Lamar did go back to taking his salary from the ordinance, which was the $4,100 more than the sheriff or whatever, in 23 and 24. So he recognized that the ordinance was active, okay? So no, we can't really set your salary on the resolution, because the resolution doesn't change the law. I appreciate you giving the money back, and I know you will. However, if we retain the ordinance as it is, you'll have a compatible salary of $108,000. Your salary will then go with, I think, the sheriff now. And that's how it will go. When the sheriff gets a raise, you get a raise. And the COLAs and the incentives don't apply if the ordinance stands as it is. So I oppose changing the ordinance. It worked to some extent in the past. It will work again because I trust you to comply with it. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Comment from you?
No, thank you. Yes, sir.
Is this calculation made yearly, or did something else inspire this calculation to come up with the salary for 26?
No, this has to be done yearly for all elected officials, and it's done prior to the new budget year. So if you're setting a budget for next year, this has to be part of it. And so this came up during the budgeting process. And these come out, and then it has to be calculated. So that's when it was calculated.
So this particular salary has been budgeted for a little while?
This salary, yes, because when we discovered this, we were in that process. And the commissioner said we need to do what's right. So he said we're gonna move it back, and that's what I budgeted for.
So if this was figured out then, what is this? Where did this come from? Who left copies, and who's responsible for this argument? Okay. So, that explains it. So this, when you started this, you said that it's back in the 2013 or whatever that is. It gives an exact number. and then every year it adds the COLAs, whether yes or no or whatever. So that doesn't ever change. It only changes like if they do a COLA for next year. So it's not like you have to go back and recalculate all the way back from the beginning every time. So,
Well, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
No, you don't,
Right,
but I had never done it before.
I understand.
And I wanted to verify what had been done.
And you did the right thing. So to me, because I didn't know anything about this, but I wanted to see what it was all about. So to me, if he was told he was making $134,000, okay, when he came into it, that sounds like if this is the exact figure, if you take 1 year away and then you add, the previous commissioner was in for many terms, had many other opportunities because of trainings and other things. So it sounds like the 134 included this and all of the COLAs and all of his extensive training and all those other options that he could get. So that would explain why the previous finance person said, you're making 134, because that's what was there, to me. Because the gentleman that says, well, now we need to go back and give Lamar all this money because if it wasn't included, it seems like it was included. And if Lamar's not complaining, which I'm sure he got everything that he ever could possibly get, no commissioner in their job, like he had been in there that long, would not know that. So I would think that every year he would make sure he's getting all the money that, is allowed to go to him. So, in defense of that. So I don't agree with going back and open up that can of worms. I mean, to figure it out and adjust it, you can do that real easily. So I thank you very much for what you've done since you have been in office for a year, making this transparent, and with this kind of opened up the can of worms. But it sounds like she was doing the right thing, and when you guys were in the middle of the budget, it came up, you just figured it out, because you had to figure it out because of the budget. So, amen to you. Thank you. And paying it back, I have a question about that, because your taxes is based on what your income is and what your adjusted gross income is. And for every level that it goes up, it's a higher percentage. So to go back now and out of this year, if he's going to do this, and to deduct it, is not honestly fair, because he paid a higher rate because it was so much higher last year. So if you don't adjust for that, that's not fair to him if we're going dollar for dollar. So I don't know if there's another way to figure it, if they can go back and adjust it before he actually turns in his taxes so it's truly fair. Just a little note there.
Well, we can't
Sorry.
adjust it until it's paid back.
Okay. So even though we paid higher, if you adjust it monthly, it won't equal out. He will still have paid more than he should have and not gotten it back. Okay.
How
I mean,
would
if
we
he's okay with
formally
that.
request an audit of the previous salary?
Well, we have state audits every year. That doesn't mean that mistakes can't be found, but there's state audits required by the state every year. If you want something further than that, you'd have to talk to our current commissioner.
Okay, so if I asked Commissioner Collins formally, he could instruct to do an audit of the previous salary.
Do you understand that that audit would cost more than?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Anything we would ever get wrong?
I don't think an audit's going to cost more than $20,000.
I don't want to speak for Mr. Collins, but I believe he did look into a forensic audit early last year.
All right.
And the cost,
How do we verify whether or not?
well, just to answer for the forensic, the cost was something astronomical.
It's several $100,000.
It was a lot.
Can we then just verify whether or not the COLA increases were included in Lamar's salary? No, we need to see the breakdown of Lamar's salary.
But you can add those to that.
For that
Yes,
one, we
sir.
should know.
Why don't we let Lamar decide whether he wants to, review and see if he was cheated? Why are we worrying about Lamar? Okay? Lamar will worry about it if he needs
Let's not talk back and
to.
forth in the gallery. This is a public hearing based on an ordinance change. During this, we had a presentation of Mr. Collins's salary, how that was calculated, a mistake that was found, a very generous proclamation by Mr. Collins on the record that he's going to get that paid back. I understand. This is going to be a hardship. That's what he's going to do. a lot of people in here like the previous commissioner, want the best for him, but we did not come prepared to discuss the previous commissioner's salary.
I'm only asking as it pertains to the base salary and the legitimate entitlements the office of commissioner gets.
Correct. I understand what you're asking for. I can't give you that answer today.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I want to thank Kay for that calculation. She did a very good job going back. And, you know, based on the documents we have, it's very clear how that calculation was done. And that you went back to the exact state COLA and what worked forward from where this document started. And so thank you for doing the calculations.
Mr. Kay worked real hard and all that, worked real hard on that.
I'd like to say something. Harold, you mentioned in your statement about if people didn't get off your back, how you'd start using the county car more. I want to challenge you for that. If they don't get off your back, run the wheels off of it.
Amen.
Because you are doing a great job being a commissioner. And the tone you had, I could tell the compassion you have for this county. And I want to thank you. But I want to personally hold your feet to the fire. If some of these people in this room don't back off and let you do your job along with the other employees, because you are doing exactly what you said you would do. You are being transparent. Unfortunately, some people can't see.
One other thing, and not to my home anymore. People know what this is?
Oh,
It's county credit card. All right, what's the limit on that?
it depends. Some people are 5, some people are 10
A year or a month?
per month.
Per month?
It's the credit
$5,000 a
limit.
month. That's all you just card one time.
Not once.
You ain't gonna spend on my back. It won't be breaking the law if I use it. If I use it for business, and it'll be business, so give me a little credit here.
Not one time.
Don't one or two people change what you should be doing, or what you're allowed to do, and from what you're doing. Okay? They are going to ruin it for the entire county with what you've gone in there and what you're doing. So please don't do that. I know that it's hard. You know, when we had the restaurant, one or two people on the holidays that come from out of the area, or even locals, would really make it hard. And I remember Jim saying to me, we should close every holiday, because it was just a pain in the butt. And that wouldn't be fair to everybody else who enjoyed it. So please make sure that you use what you're entitled to fairly, what you're doing, and don't let those few noisy ones affect the rest of the county.
That card is on it for emergencies. And that's if I break it down or something, I gotta have it, and then I'll still reimburse the county for it. I don't plan on using it.
I just have one suggestion. If you, I know you will go through and pay back what you feel like you were overpaid, I suggest you take it like an auto loan or furniture loan and spread it out over 2, 3, 5 years, where you don't take a hit just in 1 year. That's my only comment.
He needs to pay it back before the end of the term.
Okay.
But he'll determine what he can afford
3 years, yeah.
and get it done.
Anything else? If not, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Jennifer.